So here's something wild that most people either missed or don't want to touch. What if Meghan Markle never gave birth to her children at all? No, seriously. We're not talking vague internet rumors here. Her own father went on record claiming that Meghan had frozen her eggs years ago, and her brother reportedly said she had a hysterectomy after that. And get this, it supposedly happened while she was still married to Trevor Engelson, way before Prince Harry even entered the picture. That alone flips the entire story of their fairy tale family upside down.
Why do so many royal fans question Meghan Markle's pregnancies? Why are there no hospital photos or candid baby bumps? Why are family members hinting at something bigger behind the scenes? No birth photos, no hospital records, not a single unguarded baby bump shot.
The deeper you dig, the messier it gets. It's not just about her having frozen eggs. The real issue is that it looks like she couldn't afford to keep them stored long term. Apparently, the cost of keeping them preserved runs anywhere between $8,000 to $9,000 a month.
And she's changed. She's not the daughter I knew. My daughter was a much more giving, loving person than she is now.
And if the rumors are to be believed, Meghan didn't have that kind of money back then. We're talking about someone who, according to insiders, made around $7,000 per episode on Suits. And that's when she even showed up, which wasn't very often. Across 108 episodes, her total screen time adds up to about 138 minutes. That's basically blink and you miss it level. So now imagine this. She loses access to the frozen eggs because she couldn't afford the storage, has a hysterectomy, and still shows up years later with 2 kids that are supposedly hers. You see where people start raising eyebrows, right? And it's not just speculation. People have been picking apart her entire motherhood narrative like a detective solving a cold case. There's barely any real footage or pictures of her being openly affectionate with the children. You know, the usual mom stuff, hugs, kisses, messy moments. Instead, the kids seem awkward in every public sighting, like props in a staged scene. There's even chatter that the little girl we saw one day at Disneyland isn't the same one we saw the next day in a different dress. Are we seriously seeing different children used in different appearances? And that moon bump clip? Bro. Meghan walking around with what many claim is an obviously fake pregnancy belly during the pandemic, in a hospital, no less, at a time when strict COVID rules were in full effect. That's not just eyebrow raising. That's potentially illegal. Hospital policies were extremely tight then, especially for maternity wards. You couldn't just waltz in, let alone bring in camera crews and pose for content. Now put all that next to how she acts in interviews or public appearances. She always seems so distant when her kids are mentioned, like there's no real maternal warmth. Her responses are flat, sometimes even weirdly performative. It's like she's going through the motions of being a mother without any real connection, and people notice. It's not even hate, it's observation. Something just doesn't sit right. Even her dad noticed. That's what's crazy. This isn't a random online troll talking trash. It's her dad dropping receipt. He said she had her eggs removed and frozen, period. Then her brother backed it up, adding that she had a hysterectomy afterward. That's not small talk. That's a straight up bombshell if true. Because it completely shatters the narrative of her biological motherhood. And what's worse, nobody in the mainstream media is asking the questions. They just gloss over it like it never happened. So you have to ask yourself, if Meghan really couldn't have kids, then where did Archie and Lilibet come from? Why does it feel like the palace, the press, and even the public are all tiptoeing around the biggest unanswered question in the royal saga? What really throws people off is how Meghan and Harry play this perfect parent act while dodging any real transparency. Every time those kids are brought up, it's either overly polished or strangely vague. No real birth photos, no raw moments, just curated images that feel more like brand material than family snapshots. And then you've got this odd detail. No hospital confirmations, no medical professionals coming forward, not even a blurry paparazzi shot of Meghan actually pregnant in a candid moment. For a couple constantly in the limelight, that's almost impossible. Let's not forget the moon bump theories. There's footage floating around where Meghan's belly literally shifts and folds unnaturally as she squats down. Like not just awkward angle weird, but props department error weird. People zoomed in, slowed it down, analyzed it frame by frame. And what they found doesn't scream baby bump, It screams foam padding. It's one thing if she used a surrogate and didn't want to admit it. But if there's actual deception involved, it changes the game. It's not just about privacy anymore. It becomes a question of authenticity and public trust. Then there's the issue of the kids' birth certificates. At one point, it was reported that Meghan had her royal title removed from the document and later put back in. That's not standard procedure, and in the US, royal titles aren't supposed to be used as legal names. Yet somehow, Archie and Lilibet's paperwork slipped through the cracks with titles attached. According to insiders, even immigration officials were confused and supposedly reached out to King Charles for clarity.
Now, even Meghan's own family fuels the fire. Her father allegedly claimed she froze her eggs, while her brother insists she had a hysterectomy. If either story holds water, how did Archie and Lilibet come into the world? Are we looking at a royal fairy tale or a carefully staged show for the cameras?
That's not a thing that happens unless something seriously sketchy is going on. Harry, on the other hand, is no innocent bystander. He's playing along just fine, smiling for the camera, riding the wave, and even demanding HRH titles for the kids. That stirred up a whole storm behind the scenes. The Queen reportedly had made it clear before her passing, no HRH titles for those stepping away from royal duties. But here comes Harry, trying to push it through anyway, and according to multiple sources, Charles caved. The man who was supposed to clean up the monarchy's image handed over those titles like party favors. But let's rewind for a second. Why would Meghan go through all this trouble in the first place? Some say it's for brand value. Others say it's to secure her spot in history. But one theory stands out. She believed having royal children would lock her into the monarchy forever. Not in name, but in influence. 2 kids born into the firm with HRH titles? That's leverage. That's long-term PR power. Whether she gave birth or not becomes almost irrelevant if the public believes the narrative. And yet, cracks keep showing. Meghan's behavior toward the children is consistently off. In one video, she awkwardly holds one child like she's never held a toddler in her life. No eye contact, no soothing gestures, just stiff posturing. And the kids? They look like they're being managed by assistants. There's always a handler nearby, always a sense of, this is for the camera. People aren't stupid. They notice the inconsistencies, the weird body language, the lack of real emotion. And the question that keeps echoing louder is this. If these kids aren't biologically hers, and if the palace knows that, then why is everyone pretending everything is normal? Is it out of fear, shame, or something deeper that we're not even close to understanding yet? Meghan's defenders always jump in with the same tired argument. She's just private. But there's a difference between privacy and when it starts to look like you faked an entire pregnancy, hired stand-in children, and manipulated your way into royal recognition. It stops being about personal boundaries. It becomes about public deception. Especially when you're still using royal titles, still appearing on the official monarchy website, and still cashing in on the Duchess brand every chance you get. Then there's the timing of everything. The video of Meghan twerking went viral right around the same time. Fresh questions started popping up about the kids, almost like a distraction tactic. Make noise, stir up controversy, and shift attention away from what people are really asking. Who exactly are these children? If she's truly their mother, then why the need for all this misdirection? Why not clear it up once and for all? Instead, it feels like the plan is to keep throwing out new headlines, new narratives, and new outrage bait anything to avoid the core question. But what Meghan seems to be missing is that this kind of attention doesn't build legacy, it burns it. The Kardashian comparisons she clearly loves, they don't work here. Kim and Paris weren't claiming royal legitimacy. They weren't putting children at the center of a public relations power play. Meghan is. And now, more than ever, people are looking at Harry. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just Meghan's charade. Harry is neck deep in it too. He's not some poor fool who got duped. He's actively helping shape the story. A man who once claimed he hated the press now seems obsessed with maintaining their image. He's calling the paparazzi when it suits him, launching lawsuits when it doesn't. It's hypocrisy at full volume. The royal family, meanwhile, stays silent. No statement, no pushback, just a quiet, uncomfortable tolerance. But silence isn't neutrality, it's complicity. Especially when the monarchy's public image is being dragged through the mud by two people who walked away from the job, but not the perks. Meghan still signs her name with Duchess of Sussex. Harry still demands royal treatment on international tours. And the palace still hosts their bios on the official royal website. There's no accountability, no line being drawn, and every time Meghan posts a carefully staged photo with one of those kids, every time Harry makes some speech about protecting his family, it's another slap in the face to anyone who values truth. Because it's not about them anymore. It's about the institution they represent and the trust they've hijacked. The public might never get proof of what really happened. No clinic will come forward, no employee will leak records. But the truth has a strange way of surfacing. And the more Meghan and Harry try to act normal while everything around them screams abnormal, the more the cracks show. People are connecting dots. They're comparing dates, they're watching body language, analyzing photos, noticing when the same child looks oddly different within days. At some point, even the most loyal fans will stop defending. The illusion can't hold forever. And when it finally breaks, when the press stops shielding them and the palace can't look away anymore, what happens next could be far more explosive than anything we've seen yet. Because this isn't just a couple bending the truth. This could be one of the biggest image con jobs in royal history. And everyone, from the top down, might have helped make it possible.
It's not just about parenthood, it's about power. Two royal children mean titles, influence, and a legacy that lasts. But with every unanswered question, the world's trust in the Sussexes begins to crack. So is this the biggest royal deception of our time, or just a storm of speculation? Tell us what you think in the comments. Because one thing's clear, every illusion eventually shatters.